This is Larry Lawton, and he's an ex-jewel thief. Larry's a former career criminal, once considered the biggest jewel thief in the United States.
Okay, everybody, here we are, back to Chapter 2, Part 2 of Chapter 2. And this is still a good earner for the mob, and this is where I really kind of still my young days, and I want to keep it going. I mean, this has been great so far. We're having a lot of fun. And again, remember about the books, remember about merchandise, remember about our links below. They're pretty good stuff that you can check out, and it's all in the links below, you know. And otherwise, sometimes I forget to tell people about that. I know everybody laughs. There was a great meme about me doing the I'll never forget. That was really had me laughing. Had a really good time too watching that. So anyway, let me keep it going. Let me keep going what we're talking about here. And as the last ending of chapters, I was starting to get to be a tough guy. And I mean, I did stuff that was pretty crazy when I was young, like a couple of the tactics I used to get paid. If you owed somebody money, you owed me money, you owed any of our guys money, it was rough. Like I would take a cinder block and throw a cinder block right through the windshield. The whole windshield would cave into the front seat or right into the into the steering wheel. Believe me, if you wing a cinder block, throw that through the wheel. Trust me, things break. Put it through windows, stuff like that. That would get a person's attention. If you owed money to somebody, that would get the attention of that person. And trust me, it would. I also, if that didn't work, if you owed me money, I loan sharked you money. And how loan sharking works is, if I lent you $10,000, you'd have to give me what they call 3 points. 3 points is three interest rates. So what's 3 points on $10,000? It's $600. Do the math. It's $30 for $1,000. So $1,000 is $30. 3 times 10 comes out to $600. 3 points. So you have to give me every Friday. I come to see you, and my customers were bookies or drug dealers or a guy who owns a bar. And if he owns a bar and he doesn't pay his sales tax, they'll close you down quick. They will put the padlocks on that door and close your business down. That's in the bar business. And you know, people don't get that. When you buy a drink from them, every time that owner gets that dollar, let's just say it's $1 a drink. In the state of Florida, he's got to give 6 cents in tax. He better have that 6 cents in tax, because they have to pay that monthly. And if you don't pay that monthly, they'll give him one warning and they will shut you down. They'll come and put padlocks on your door. And you don't want that to happen, because there's your business. So what does he do? He goes to a guy like me. Comes to Larry, says, "Hey Larry, I need 10,000. Come on, you know." I said, "You know the deal. I want 600 every Friday. Every Friday I come to that door, I want $600. Okay, you got it, you know. That's at 20%. That's at the 20%. It's $300. But anyway, we're sitting there, and I want my money, because I lent the guy 20,000. That's how this all started. I was talking about it. 3 points is 300 a week. Every week I want 300. Well, when you lend someone 20,000, they got to give you 600 every single week. So I loaned this guy 20,000. He's got to give me $600 every week. Friday comes, I'm getting my 600. He owned a bar. I knew he was making what they call, you know, the door, when they get the door. And sure enough, he paid me my money every week. And I told him, you got 6 months to pay my money. But no, I only need it for a little bit. I got to get my taxes done. I got to get my check back. And whatever it is they say, I don't care. Sure enough, they're paying you. All of a sudden, 6 months comes along. What happens? Can't pay you. I said, "Oh, you can't pay me," right? I don't get too crazy. I said, "Listen, now it's going to be 5 points. Now you owe me $1,000 a week on that 20 grand. You owe me $1,000 a week. Every Friday I'm going to be here. I want my money. None of that money that comes off the principal. So you still owe me that 20,000. So he still owes me 20,000. And now figure out these numbers. In 6 months, if you gave a person $600 a week, if you gave him $1,000 a week, it's what? it's $26,000 in 6 months. 52 weeks, $26,000 he gives you just in that. Then the other one is about $18,000 that he owes you from the other money you gave him the first 6 months. You just made $38,000 and he still owes you $20,000. So what do you do then? He can't pay you. Obviously, if you don't want to give up the business, give a percentage of the business where we all whack the business up, and this is what happens. They do that. Eventually, they either burn the place down or, figure they can't do this anymore, and they try to quit the business in one way or the other. And that didn't bother me at all because I know I'm getting my money. If he sells the business, and if he can sell the business, I'm getting my money. Or if he gets an insurance job out of it, I'm getting my money as well. And that's only the 20. He just gave me almost double what he owed me. Almost double, just about double what he owed me. He gave me and given me at 3 points and then 5 points. That's how loan sharking works. There were a couple of methods, but now if you have to intimidate someone, one time there was a guy owed money. He was kind of not answering the calls, ducking everybody. He said, oh, he needs a message. The guy's car was parked in a parking driveway right in front of his house. You got to do this at night, and we took a cinder block, put the cinder block under the gas tank. We took a sterno. A sterno is those things that they heat up food at a party. We took the sterno, put it under the cinder block, and lit it. Now, if there's a lot of gas in the tank, it takes a long time to blow. If there's a little amount of gas in there, it blows because the fumes expand and boom, it goes up. And the back end of that car will go flying because that gas tank will explode. So, obviously, those are the things we did when we were younger. And of course, I don't ever think anybody should do anything like that. And I always tell people, you're going to go to jail. In today's world, they'll figure it out. Back in my day, they didn't figure things out because, one, they didn't have the time. Two, even if they had the time, they didn't have the technology they do today, which is fires equipment, know what it was, where you bought the items, everything else. Even they can get fingerprints and they can have cameras coming from wherever. You're going to get caught. No question about it. You're going to get caught. But those were the things we did back in the old days to get our money. If you owed me money, you were paying me. Trust me. There was no question. If you owed me money. And at this time, I met my wife. I met my wife, Rosalind. Rosalind was a beautiful woman, still is, a great woman. And Rosalind was in Brooklyn. Her dad come from a beautiful family, worked in a financial district. Everyone is all cool, very good friends. To this day, I'm very good friends with her, and she's the mother of my son. And, anyway, how I met Rosalind, she was in a bar, and she was young. I was 6 years older than her. I am 6 years older than her. And she was in a bar on 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. And I walk in, and there's this hot girl. I said, oh, man, this one's looking hot. And started hitting on her, buying drinks, doing all this stuff. We end up connecting. One of the biggest things I laughed, I used to think, and she never knew, she worked in a Yorktown Savings, or Yorkville Savings Bank, a bank. She was a teller at that time. And I laugh about that because I would always put it in the back of my mind, man, I want to rob this place. And, I would tell her that, of course, but I'm like, I want to rob this place. That's my mindset. But we connected, and we ended up getting married in 1987. We met in 1986. We met on September 12th. 1986, and ironically, we got married on September 11th, which we all know what that date is in the United States. The Twin Towers got hit, but we got married there that was 2014 years before that. So we got married in 87. We ended up since getting divorced, all because of my fault. I always tell people, they always ask us, I'm good friends with my ex-wife. We had some rules. My ex-wife was great, but my rules were, you don't ever touch me. She would no woman ever touched me. And I tell them, listen, I never in my life hit a woman or did something negative to old people or something like that. I respect kids, women, and old people. Now, when I say respect, I don't mean respect. I was a flirt. I went out with multiple women, did some crazy things. I put my women through hell. And again, it's not right. I put them through hell. It's just the lifestyle I lived. It was an uncontrollable lifestyle, and it really was. And I feel for them now. We actually was just talking to my ex-wife about that, and she goes, "You were so bad." And yes, I knew I was, but we're okay with each other. She also knows I never hit her, and she would never hit me. Never did I hit a woman. Now, if a woman hit me, I'm gonna treat you like a man. So don't even think about that either. Don't think you can just hit the person, because I'm a woman. That's bullshit too. It was funny. We had a great wedding. I mean, we got married in the Oriental Manor. Well, we got married in Regina Pace's church. They called it the Last Mile. It was a long aisle down to the altar. We were Catholic, and she lived right there. Regina Pace's is 65th Street in Brooklyn, Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And so we had the limousine from Carmine Persico's, from the Romanique limousines. My brother ends up dropping champagne in the limousine. My brother ripped down a chandelier because we were so drunk in the limousine. But back then, it's what we did. We ran things. Men ran things. Like after the wedding, the big long mile, we get in the limousine, and I direct the driver to go to the home stretch. I literally left my wife in that car, and went into the home stretch. And my best man, which was my brother, and the best lady, which was Rosalind's, I think, sister-in-law, Rosalind's cousin, I think it was, first cousin. And she was the best lady, or maid of honor. And they waited in the car while my brother and I went into the home stretch to have a few toasts, because we were actually heading to get pictures taken. It was a big deal. And the wedding reception was, oh my God, there was a mobbed up wedding, and it was crazy wedding at the Oriental Manor in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. We had my friend Bruno. Bruno was a Zip. They call him a Zip. He was from Italy, and he used to have the wrapped up guns and the stuff. And he, Larry, let me show you. He couldn't speak English. He was so crazy. We get him a job in the Diamond District. He shoots his boss in the ass. We're trying to keep him in the country back then with the green cards and everything else. What does he do then? We were in the bar, and they actually had poker machines you can actually play. They were real gambling machines. The bartender would pay you off. They had a whole system. It was legitimate gamble. Not legitimate, but it was under the table. But if you knew somebody, you can gamble. He gets mad at the poker machine, starts shooting it up. He was crazy. And then we also had Nettie. And if you remember, back when I got married, they had what they call leisure suits. Look them up. They were leisure suits with the big lapels and the pants with the big bottoms. It was so crazy. And leisure suits. And so I invite my friend Kenny Costa, who was in the Coast Guard. I had some Coast Guard buddies, a bunch of people at the wedding. And Costa comes to the wedding, and he gets drunk. He's drunk like he was always a crazy kid, this kid Costa. And he got drunk, and he's dancing, and he's doing splits on the dance floor. But he started getting obnoxious. And I knew who he was. Of course, he was like that. Just leave him alone. He'll fall asleep drunk somewhere in a little bit. He was crazy. So what does he do? I got Bruno and Nettie. Bruno comes up to me and goes, Larry, do you want me to take care of him? Meaning shoot the guy, kill the guy. And I'm like, what the fuck? I go to Willie. I said, what are we going to do with this guy? He wants to kill my friend. This is crazy. What is he doing at his wedding? It was so wild. And then, this I'll never forget. We were all coked up. There was a lot of coke back in those days. And this is my brother-in-law, my brother, everybody. We had a dais, the big dais. We had such good food. We had prime rib, and we had lobsters and everything on this beautiful wedding. And we're on the dais, and everybody is on the dais is pretty much coked up. Nobody's eating. I'll tell you a little respect here. So I'm in the bathroom doing coke with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law doing coke in the bathroom, and in comes my father-in-law. He walks in, he looks at us, he says, Larry, they need you to cut the cake. My brother and I look at each other, and he never said a word, my father-in-law. I give him a lot of respect, and I'll tell you why. He knew that I knew I screwed up. Nothing else had to be said. He knew, I knew that I screwed up. But I often used to think about that, and how does he feel, his new son-in-law, that he is just married his daughter, was doing coke with his son in the bathroom. Never mentioned that. Never mentioned that. Because he was a knock-around guy, too. He knew about all that stuff from Wall Street. You know, back in those days, they were paying people off, getting them hookers, getting them coke, doing all that kind of stuff. He was a foreign exchange broker, and there was so much shit going on back in the day. He was really a stand-up guy, so he knew it. So we get married, and actually, start talking about trust, you know, those mob weddings and those kind of weddings, everybody's giving you cash in those envelopes, just like you see on TV. So what do? My wife and I are heading on a cruise. We go on a cruise ship, and we leave the whole bag of money to my mother-in-law and father-in-law. They counted out, give us a list who gave what, put the money in the bank. Unreal what they did. I think we made about $30,000 or maybe more out of that wedding. And my father-in-law also bought me the pizzeria, gave me $30,000 to open up a pizzeria in South Florida. I opened up a pizzeria in North Lauderdale, Florida. And it was a great pizza. We called it Lenny's. It was a Lenny's in Brooklyn. I ended up being a pretty good pizza maker. I can actually throw the pizza up, you know, you throw it off your knuckles. Throw the pizza up, and I used to get the dough as high as the ceiling or even high as the building. It was a one-story building. And I used to make pizza, and my wife used to make the meatballs and the sausage, and we actually had a good little operation going. But what does Larry do? Wise guys can pick out wise guys like a minute. You know if somebody's connected, you start talking, you know the hustle game. So this other guy I know, and Paulie comes in, and sure enough, he starts selling me diamonds. And I'm like, I don't know diamonds at this point. I don't know anything about the diamond game. But he's selling me stuff. I'm looking in papers, and I'm looking at Zales, and I'm looking at all these places. This got to be worth some good money. And I knew it wasn't fake, had it checked. So I just went to somebody I knew, and it was real and stuff like that. Told him I was going to get married, some bullshit like that to get it praised. It was legit stuff. So I figured the dude had a house rock, because it was little pieces, like a rock here, a couple of rings here, a bracelet, a watch. So I'm like kind of moving some hot stuff out of the pizzeria. And I'm thinking, he's probably knocking off houses or something, and he has nowhere to turn. He's coming at me with it. So I'm still making money now. I'm giving some money. I'm going back and forth to New York, and I'm giving money to Willie, and I'm giving people, not much, but I'm making a few dollars. But that's when Willie says to me, he goes, I got a job for you. Okay. He tells me about a job. He says, we got a guy, my first jewelry robbery. It's an insurance job. You know, you can keep the diamonds, and they want the insurance, and everything will be square. And I said, okay, it gives you the details, who's going to be there. It's got to be a real robbery, but you got to know where all the stuff is. There's not going to be any hiding. There's not going to be the diamonds that we have to look for the box or any of that kind of crap. You don't have to do any. It's going to go in there, and you knew who was going to go. He says, there's only be one employee there at this time. You can do it anytime you want. It has to be real, because that employee can't know about it, because they'll be interrogated, and if they even come off like they know about it, it's over. They're going to get caught. So sure enough, I cased it. It was in a Publix, like a plaza with a Publix store. And again, the plaza's where I looked at it, and I could sit there and I could watch the store. I knew what time. I ended up doing the robbery at 12 o'clock in the day. And it was right when, about 11 o'clock in the day. And it was right when I knew there was a back entrance to bring the car. Park it over there, you're all good. The car's in the park in the back. You come around, you walk around, the car's waiting for you in the back. And now I'm sitting, this is me alone. So I'm waiting, I go in, I walk in, right timing, I knew when nobody was coming. I remember I jump over the counter, I put the gun in the girl's face, get down, get down. She actually tries to run in the back where there was a gun. I end up getting her before her, and I grab her, I said, what are you, nuts? Get down on the floor. And I put her on the floor. I ended up taking, I knew where everything was. I took it. I was out of there really quick. And I go, whoa. So now I'm excited. I go home. I got to head to New York right away. Got to go to New York. Got to get a fence. Got to do all that. End up getting a fence through a friend. And he was a fence with a different family. It was with the Genovese family. And he don't know me. I don't know him. We know we're on involved. So we got to make this deal a legitimate deal. When I say legitimate, criminals working legitimate. Now, I don't know if he's going to try to kill me. I don't know if he's going to try to set me up. I don't know what. I find out later he was worried about the same thing as me. He was worried, oh, these guys gonna kill me? Are these guys cops? He didn't know, so everything was working. It worked out so good, though. But think about scared. When we sat on the table, we made a price. I wanted like $225,000. I ended up agreeing on $150,000 cash. He says, okay, $150,000. I'll come here tomorrow. I let him take the jewels and everything with him. I knew that if he tried to beat me on anything like this, I was going to kill him. I was going to go looking for him. I was going to kill him. I wouldn't have cared. But nope. The next day, told him when he was coming. He comes over. Now, I don't know what the deal is either. Are they coming thinking I got more money there or something else? And so I have my brother-in-law, Lenny, behind a bar in their house with a shotgun. He's got the shotgun. I'm loaded with bear with a pistol, and he comes in. The deal went perfectly. I opened the bag, $150,000 cash. Hey, not bad for a setup. Can't beat this the job for a setup. I go, man, this is what I really like. I mean, can you ever ask for anything like that? So now I'm in New York, and I getting tested. You know, I had to go up to New York a lot, and when I went up to New York, one time I get called up to New York, and it's the boss, Willie, and he says, hey, I got a job for you. We found out a kid robbed $75,000 from a bookie we know. Sure he did it. His kid ratted on him. His friend that ratted on him. We know it's him. This is when I get Joe Cap. I said, Joe, go get an iron. Go get that. Joe Cap was a hanger-on. I said, go get the iron from upstairs. Put it. Now, we're in the basement cellars in Brooklyn. We bring this guy down into the cellar. This kid, he's about 21 years old. And I look at the kid and I say to him, now, I'm a pretty mean-looking guy, big, well-spoken but big. And we're sitting down there. There's all boxes down. That's where all the storage is for the bar upstairs. So it's not like it's like rooms or anything. It's in a cellar. You're underground. You're in a underground cellar. You know, those things where the grates come up off the streets and you walk down into them. So it's quiet down there. You go through a couple of brick things and you go in. Because there's another door. You don't just open that and go in. You go down, then you open another door. You get in. So we're in there, and I got the kid strapped to a chair. He's sitting down like this in a chair, and I got him with his arms like against the thing, tried to trap. He's like, I took his shirt off. Not like off. I took his shirt and, you know, you put it over your head so his chest was all showing. And I had his pants down to his ankles. He was naked. He was buck naked right there. And his thing. So he's in there, and I said to him, where's the money? He said, I didn't do it. I swear I didn't do it. I didn't do it. They're lying. Whoever who told you, he's not lying. I never did. I swear to God, I never did it. Oh, you didn't do it. I said, listen, we know you did it. I'm telling you, where's the money? I want to know where the money is. I swear I didn't do it. I said, I'm going to ask you one more time. Where's the money? He says, I don't know. I took the hot iron. I went, psh. There's a kid to this day with an iron mark on his chest. So I hit him with the iron, and I screamed. I could hear these screams. I'll never forget that voice. He's screaming, and he's screaming out loud. And I said to him, okay. Now he's literally sweating, crying, and you know, the red mark, the smell of the flesh, you could smell to this day. I look right down at his dick. I look at his dick, and I look at his face. I say, I'm going to ask you one more time. Where's the money? 12th Avenue, 67th Street, somewhere over there. I said the guy I was with, I said, Joe, go get the money. He took his keys out of the kid's pocket. He went to his apartment, and he came back, and it was $70,000. It was $75,000, supposed to be. He comes back with the $70,000, and it was light for the money, but you know, we thought they'd get mad, but nobody got mad. I said, now, was it worth it to have that mark? I'm gonna let you go, but if anybody ever fucks around in this neighborhood, any fucking buddy robs or fucks with one of these guys that we know, they're not gonna walk out of this cellar. The kid knew I was real. I was starting to get a really crazy reputation. One time a guy owed me money, and he kept ducking me. I ended up getting in trouble by Dominic because I took the kid out in front of the building, and I laid his arm on the curb and snapped it. And the kid is screaming. took him to the hospital, get his arm fixed or whatever, but I got in trouble, not for fucking him up. I got in trouble by Dominic for saying, what are you doing? You don't do this shit in front of this place. I don't give a fuck what you do with the fuck. You don't do it in front of the place. And I'm like, oh shit, man. I didn't know I was going to get in trouble for this. But I had that kind of bad temper. I was kind of not right in my own mind. And that's why I always tell people can change. I don't want anybody to believe you can't change. I don't care who you are, what you're like right now. I mean, I tell that to police now, and I tell that to law enforcement. Don't judge somebody so bad. People change. I was a bad guy, and I'm a totally different guy today. I changed. But that's how I was. So we started understanding the hustles. So here I am in Florida, another hustle. We have a bookmaking business going. You know people are going to owe you money eventually, and they can't pay. So what do? You send that guy to your own guy who's a loan shark. Now the guy might owe $1,000. If he owes $1,000 or $2,000, let's say he owes $3,000 because this happened, $3,000. Now he's paying. You tell him, I want my money. Okay, you better go see him. He goes to see him. He gets the money. He feels a little relief, but he's got to pay that guy $90 a week, every week. $30 for every 1,000, so 3,000 is $90 a week. He's got to pay him every week, no matter what he pays him. Now the guy's hurting for money. You know, he's a regular Joe making regular money, maybe $400 a week or whatever it is. And here he is, he's paying $90, and you see he's coming a little light, and you give him another little break. Then you send someone to go get him. Junior, go get the guy. Bring him here. He comes back, and I had a warehouse set up now where I had a limousine and I had stuff, and I was running bookmaking out of there. I was running loan shark and all scams, little drugs, whatever you could do, I was running. So here I am. I said to the guy, I said, get the guy. I said, you owe a lot of money. I said, you want that paid off? He goes, sure. What do you mean? He goes, I go, you're a warehouse manager, right? Yeah. When can we go into your store and rob it? And they'll never know they're robbed. He starts thinking, I can't do that. This is my store. I'll lose my job. You won't lose your job. Do another thing. You're a warehouse manager. Who's going to know what you're doing? Sure enough, the warehouse we robbed was so huge. I mean, it was like 2 football fields. We back a rent-a-truck up to the place, back it up, and load this place with jacuzzis and wire and toilets. It was a plumbing warehouse. We packed this place with a 23-foot Ryder rent-a-truck. I take the 23-foot Ryder rent-a-truck from Florida to New York. I ended up getting $75,000 for that truck. The guy ended up giving me like $60,000 he had with him, and he said, that's all I got or whatever. $60,000 cash. The guy owed me $3,000 because we learned how to become hustlers. My first stop after that robbery or scam or what you want to call it, that hustle, was I went and saw Dominic, gave him an envelope. I always gave him 10%. He didn't know how much I made. He couldn't have said something. How much did you get for? How would you like it for him to find out? Somehow, through the great, yeah, I was with your man Larry, and yeah, I gave him $6,000. You know, it was a great hit. And I only gave Dominic, I gave him $60,000. I only gave Dominic $1,000 or $1,500. I don't want to put it in his head that I'm beating him. Because everybody's a gangster. Everybody's a hustler. And the old timers were good guys. John Gotti, you take him, he come from nothing. And he was a hustler. Guys like that earned what they did. They knew what they were doing. They were hustlers. They were hungry, we used to call it. Today, I don't know. I mean, there's some kids out there that are hungry, and that's the only way. But you got to be hungry. You got to be smart. You got to be tough. Listen, it's a dead-end business and a dead-end life for anybody who thinks about being in the mob today or any kind of criminal activity. It's just not worth it. You're going to lose too much like I did. And then not only that, it's wrong. Let me get right down to the core. It's wrong. I mean, I had this really crazy mentality back then. My mentality was, I had such a rough mentality of, I wanted respect. I wanted to be like the mobsters. The Godfather came out in 1972. We all wanted to be Godfathers or wanted to understand. And it's all bullshit. All that's bullshit. Because when I went away, nobody gave me money. I was all right. I took care. I had my own money coming in from my pension and stuff from getting retired. but it's not like what you see on TV. You know, it's not all of that kind of stuff. It really isn't. And I knew all the mobsters, obviously, and I was a hustler. I was a good, what they call earner. I was a earner for the mob. I was a good earner, you know, and I made a lot of money for a lot of people. But my real goal, even back then, was just to win. I wanted to win at all costs, and I don't mean just winning for to prove. I wanted to prove to everyone I had the brains, and I wanted the money, and I wanted the accolades, and be connected, and saluting drinks, and being anywhere, getting respect, going into bars, going places. Oh, he's with him, he's with him. In New York, that's a big deal. Obviously, even in Florida, when I was a big shot in South Florida, I had a great crew. I had Junior. Love the kid. I mean, it's, to this day, a good stand-up kid. And then I had Fat Tommy. Wasn't a criminal. I'm gonna interview these guys. Wasn't the criminal, but he was loyal. He would get me things. He was kind of like a front man for a lot of things. He was great. I just had a good. Of course, I had my brother. How do you get better than that? You had some really good people that was solid. I had a couple other kids, Mikey, and young kids that would look out for things, look out for cop cars, look out for all the stuff that ever happened around the neighborhood. I also took care of the neighborhood, but I always wanted to win. And that's why being an earner for the mob gave you that credibility, because one, nobody could ever say I wasn't a stand-up guy. I went away for not telling. Nobody could ever say that I shorted them on a robbery or anything like that. I didn't do that. It's not the way I worked. And I don't believe in that. My word is all I have, and that's why when I went away, my word is what I lived on. And why I didn't tell had nothing to do with anybody else. Had everything to do with me. All me. I didn't want to be a snitch, and I don't want to be a snitch. I want to be a stand-up guy. And I don't know if it all goes back to chapter 1 was it this chapter when I was talking about being abused. I think it was chapter 1. And you know, maybe I was trying to prove my manhood, trying to prove who I was. Who knows? I mean, that's for psychologists to look at me for years to come, I'm sure. But listen, I'm going to end chapter 2 here. Next chapter is loyalty, and you're going to see some stuff in that chapter as well. Pretty good. Listen, guys, we loving this. Always know whatever I did, it's not to be done. Obviously, I put it in the links. Listen, my life was a rough life. You don't want to live with that kind of pressure over your head every day. People looking for you, people looking to get you. You don't know if it's the mob coming to get you. You don't know if it's the cops coming to get you. It's not a nice way to live. You know, it's pressure that you have no idea about. And think about that. Just live through me in this way, and then you'll be okay as far as, you know, moving on, be successful in your own, play the video games that we're going to do. Again, we got the book. Make sure you get that. I'm going to be doing more payday video we did. All of this stuff is going to keep coming. This great series with this cooking series. It's going to be called Prison Cooking with Larry Lawton and a special guest. And I'm going to be making the prison meals for a guest that nobody's going to know until he comes in. It's going to be a cool series. I think it's going to be great. I've been thinking about it a lot. So really want to thank you guys. I really love the support. I mean that. Remember, everything's in the links below. Get our merch, get our book, support us if you want to donate into the corner there. We're putting up some buttons. We're doing a lot of stuff, man. Thanks for the support. I really mean it. It means more than you know. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Stay safe. Make good choices. Don't ever forget that. Make good choices.